Hello, everybody. This is Don Weber at the SANS ICS Summit here in Orlando. I'm being joined by David Foose, and David is a senior product manager at Dragos, and he's going to be talking later today at the summit about, actually tomorrow, his talk is "We Don't Talk About CERT, PSIRT Process." Is that correct?
Yeah, pretty much. The idea is along the same lines of we don't talk about Bruno, but you don't want to be sued by Disney, so we don't. It's the idea. It came from a number of different conversations with people, especially inside. When I worked at Emerson for over a decade, we would have acquisitions, or we would have various different business units inside there who were starting their process of having to be told a CERT, or being told they need to have a way to do vulnerability disclosure.
Okay.
And they don't have that process, so they were all we would be brought in, the people who did do it. We started ours in the mid-2000s, and so we were the first kind of in there, and then other people joined, and we all kind of started sharing, collaborating between each other, like, here's what worked for us, this what didn't work. So a lot of this talk also came from that experience of always onboarding new groups and helping them get through the grief of having to do the work, but also outside groups. So what I would like to do with this talk is give some highlights of what we learned over the years, over the decade of during, and use some big name events that happened.
Okay.
What happened on our side of the house that you may not have known, and why we did certain things, how long it took us to come out with information, why it took us that long, and maybe some resources being used if you had to build something today for yourself.
Excellent. So what would be, if you had to tell people about the key takeaways, what are going to be the key takeaways?
Well, the key takeaways are, whenever you're brought into here, if you are a person who's been chosen, as I call them, but honestly, just short end of the stick, you have help. It's better today than ever was. Please ask, talk to other people in your industry, and get their opinions, because again, there are a small cadre of people who have to write these things, and they have some experiences of what's worked, maybe wording, resources, that kind of stuff. And then if you are a researcher or a person who receives these from your vendor, here's why it takes us so long, or here's why we only have this certain information in there, so that it helps you understand what the output's coming and why we're wording it a certain way.
Yeah, knowing how to write them is one skill, and knowing how to read them and leverage them to your advantage is another skill. Is that correct?
And we're all going to, like anybody writing a report or a research report, they're all going to have their own styles. But generally, you should look for certain key values in there. And that's what I'm going to try to talk through certain events, why we did report, what we did report, why, and what the schedule was, and maybe some resources to help you out.
Excellent. Well, I really appreciate you taking a few minutes out. Dave's talk will be up online on the SANS ICS YouTube channel in a couple weeks after the summit. So we look forward to it then. Thank you very much for showing up.
Yep. Thank you for having me.
All right.